My stepdad installed cameras in my bedroom for safety, but I found out what he was really recording. I jolt awake to a subtle whir in the darkness. My eyes snap open and I spotted immediately a tiny red light blinking above my closet door. For a second, I think I must be dreaming. But as my vision adjusts, that pinprick glow is still there, steady and watching. A cold wave of fear washes over me. The second I see that red blinking light, I know someone is watching me. My heart hammers in my chest as I lie frozen under the covers. Who is on the other side of that camera? A week ago, I wouldn't have believed I had a camera in my bedroom at all. But my new stepdad, Mark, insisted on installing them for safety when he moved in with Mom and me 3 months back. Mom was hesitant at first. After all, what kind of parent puts a surveillance camera in their teenager's bedroom? But Mark had an answer for everything. He said it was only a precaution because of recent break-ins in our neighborhood. He even pointed out scuff marks on our front door lock one morning, claiming someone had tried to force it open. I remember how Mom's face paled with worry. The very next day, a high-tech security system arrived on our doorstep, complete with cameras for each main room and one for my bedroom, just in case. At first, it almost made sense. Mark was so protective, maybe even overprotective, but I figured that was what caring fathers do. He said the bedroom camera would only be active when I wasn't home or if the alarm was triggered. "It's just to keep you safe, Emily," he assured me with a warm smile. "We don't want anything happening to you while we're asleep or out. You're okay with this, right?" I wasn't entirely sure, but Mom chimed in that it was temporary, just until things calmed down in the area. I remember nodding, still uneasy, but trusting their judgment. After all, Mark had been nothing but kind to us since he married Mom last year. He's a former IT specialist, a guy who knows everything about computers and gadgets. If anyone could set up a security system properly, it was him. In daylight, the little white camera above my closet looked almost innocent, just another piece of smart home tech blinking a friendly green light. I got used to it being there. I even joked about it. When I left for school, I'd sometimes wave at it, laughing it off as no big deal. Mom laughed too and said, "See? It's not so bad, honey. At least we'll know if someone tries to mess with your stuff." Yet, sometimes late at night, I'd catch myself glancing at that unblinking eye in the dark and feel exposed. I couldn't pinpoint why. We all had the password to the system, and I even checked the app a few times. Mostly it showed empty rooms or our cat wandering by. Nothing weird. So why did I still feel like something was off? I tried to shake it off as paranoia. Nothing bad had happened for weeks. Mark was so attentive and caring, always asking about my day, making my favorite dinners, even helping with my homework. If I had a nightmare, he'd rush in with genuine concern, saying the camera had alerted him to my cries. It was hard to argue with that kind of dedication. Mom seemed happier than she'd been in years, finally feeling secure after divorcing my unreliable dad. So I swallowed my unease. If Mom trusted Mark, I figured I should too. But that was before I woke to the camera's red light blinking in the dark. Now, with that glow piercing the 2 a.m. darkness, I know something is very wrong. The camera is on when it shouldn't be. My mouth goes dry. No alarm has been triggered, my phone is silent. The house is dead quiet. So why on earth is the camera in my bedroom active? A shiver skitters up my spine. I slip out of bed slowly, careful not to make a sound. The wooden floor is cold under my bare feet. In the faint glow from my nightlight, I inch toward the closet, eyes locked on that tiny red beacon. The closer I get, the more I can make out the camera's lens, aimed right at my bed. It's following my movement. I swear I see it tilt, a subtle repositioning, as if correcting its view. I clamp a hand over my mouth to keep from yelping. It moved. It actually moved. A wave of nausea rolls through me. Every hair on my arms is standing up. I feel like prey that just sensed a predator's eyes. My blood is roaring in my ears now. I dart to the side, stepping out of its direct line, and watch in horror as the camera quietly whirs and turns to keep me in frame. It's as if an invisible eye is tracking my every step. My stomach churns. This is not normal. The system is only supposed to track motion if armed, and it's never armed when we're inside. That's what Mark said. So either something glitched or someone's controlling it. I back up to my bed, heart pounding, and grab my phone with trembling fingers. I open the security app Mark installed on all our devices. My hands are shaking so badly I can barely tap in the password. The live feed pops up, showing little thumbnails for each camera in the house: living room, kitchen, front door, backyard, and my bedroom. They all have a gray dot indicating disarmed, except the breath catches in my throat, except the one labeled Emily's room. That one shows a red dot, recording live. Why would it be live? Who turned it on? A nauseating suspicion twists in my gut. There's only 3 people with access to the system: me, Mom, and Mark. I know I didn't activate anything. Mom would have no reason to, which leaves only one person. But why? Why would Mark watch me in the middle of the night? My thumb hovers over the off button for the camera, but then I freeze. If I shut it off, he'll know I've seen it. And right now, I don't want him to know that I know. I quietly close the app, leaving the feed running. The camera hums softly, still pointing at me. I slip back into bed, heart thudding against my ribs, and angle myself away from the lens as best I can. My mind is racing. Maybe there's some benign explanation. Mark could be just testing the system remotely at 2 a.m. without telling us? It sounds absurd. But I cling to any rationalization that doesn't paint him as a creep. After all, he's been a father figure to me for almost a year now. He's never been inappropriate or overtly weird, overprotective, sure, but not creepy. As I lie there, I replay memories of the past few weeks in my head, searching for red flags I might have missed. Little weird things over the past weeks suddenly seem sinister. Times I found Mark fixing things in my room when I wasn't home. And how just yesterday morning he remarked that I looked tired, like he somehow knew I'd been tossing and turning all night, something I hadn't mentioned to anyone. The glass of water that appeared by my bed when I was sick, he must have snuck in and watched me sleep. His offhand comment about my pajama shorts being a bit too short, which I brushed off as him trying clumsily to be a strict dad. At the time, none of these things screamed danger. But now, each memory sends a fresh wave of nausea through me. Was I being naive? There's a fine line between protective and controlling, and I'm starting to think Mark sprinted past that line when I wasn't looking. Eventually, exhaustion overtakes adrenaline. I must have dozed off as dawn light seeps into my room. When I blink awake at 6 a.m., the red light is gone, the camera's back to its inert state. For a moment, I wonder if I dreamed the whole thing. I grab my phone and check the security app. The feed for my room is gray now, not recording. In the overnight log, it shows activity from 1:57 a.m. to 3:06 a.m. over an hour of live monitoring. My heart sinks. Someone actively watched me for that long. Downstairs, I hear the clink of plates and the low murmur of voices. Mom and Mark must be up. My hands shake as I get dressed. I'm not sure what to do or who to tell. If I go charging downstairs accusing Mark of spying on me, what if I'm wrong? What if it was some bizarre tech glitch and I blow up our family over nothing? But if I'm right, I suddenly feel a flash of anger cutting through my fear. If I'm right, then he's the one who's blown up our family, not me. And I'll be damned if I let him get away with it quietly. I need proof. Real proof that someone deliberately turned that camera on and has been recording me. The app logs might not be enough. Mark could claim it was a malfunction. I have to catch him in the act, or at least gather more evidence before confronting him or even telling Mom. At school that day, I can barely focus. I keep checking my phone under the desk, flipping between the camera app, which I've left running, and a blank note where I jot down every odd memory and clue that comes to mind. By lunchtime, I have a list. Times I caught Mark in my room, comments that made me uncomfortable, tech stuff he mentioned. I add the 1:57 a.m. log entry and circle it twice. There's also a note about how Mark always keeps his office locked. He said it's because of client data on his work computer, but what if it's something else? One item on my list makes me pause, the smoke detector in my room. A month ago, I was dusting and noticed the smoke detector above my dresser had a tiny pinhole that wasn't there before. I even joked to Mom that Mark might have put an extra camera in our smoke alarm, and she laughed it off. Now I'm not so sure it was a joke at all. Was that another camera he didn't tell us about? Or am I getting paranoid? By the time I get home, I've resolved to do some snooping of my own. I tell Mom I'm exhausted and need a nap. Really, I just need an excuse to stay in my room and think. From my window, I see her drive off to run errands an hour later. Mark's car is still in the driveway. He works from home most days. So it's just me and him. A notification pops up on my phone. Camera 3, living room. Motion detected. Probably Mark moving around downstairs. Curiosity wins. I open the feed. On the screen, I see Mark in the living room, craning his neck up toward the camera. He's adjusting it. My stomach flips. Why is he fussing with the living room camera? Then, a second notification. Camera 5, backyard. Motion detected. He's moving through the house, apparently inspecting each device one by one. Is he checking that all cameras are working, or trying to see if any have been tampered with? Did he notice something off with mine? Before I can think further, there's a soft knock at my bedroom door. I nearly drop my phone. I stuff it under my pillow and sit up on my bed. Why yeah? I call out, trying to sound normal despite my racing pulse. Mark's voice comes from the other side, gentle, concerned. You okay? You said you were napping, but the system shows you moving around. Just wanted to check on you. My blood runs cold. The system shows you moving. Which means he was watching the motion sensors, or worse, the feed again. I grip a handful of my blanket to steady myself. I'm fine, I manage to say. Just restless, can't really nap. He hesitates then. Mind if I come in? I do mind. I mind a lot. But I also don't want to tip him off that I'm suspicious. So I swallow hard and say, sure. The door opens and Mark steps in with that easygoing smile of his. He's carrying a glass of chocolate milk, my favorite after-school treat. For a second, I'm disarmed. It's such a dad thing to do. Thought you might want this, he says, handing it to me. Figured you'd be tired today. You've been tossing and turning at night. I freeze, the glass halfway to my lips. How does he know that? I glance up at the camera above my closet reflexively. Its green status light is off now, a sleeping eye. He shouldn't know. He couldn't know I've been restless at night unless. I haven't been sleeping well, I mumble, lowering the glass. The room suddenly feels claustrophobic with him standing there. Thanks for the milk. I'll try to nap in a bit. He doesn't leave right away. He lingers, eyes subtly scanning my room. I follow his gaze, first to the closet, where the camera is, then to the smoke detector on the ceiling, then to my desk, almost like he's checking that everything is in its place. For what? Finally, he says, all right, I'll let you rest. Just shout if you need anything. He backs out and gently closes the door. I release a breath I didn't realize I was holding. That was not normal. None of this is normal. He practically admitted he's been watching me at night. How else would he know about my tossing and turning? My hands tremble as I set the untouched chocolate milk on my nightstand. I check the camera logs on my phone again. Nothing new shows up, but that doesn't mean he isn't watching some other way. Enough is enough. I have to know exactly what he's been recording. That evening, I decide to test Mark's boundaries directly. If he freaks out, that'll tell me something. If he doesn't, well, I'll cross that bridge when I get there. After dinner, a silent, tense affair for me, though Mom and Mark notice I'm quiet. I just excuse it as a rough day at school. I head upstairs. I prop my bedroom door open just a crack, knowing Mark tends to check on me at night. Then I take a roll of blue painter's tape and, standing on a chair, place a big X of tape over the camera's lens. If he's watching the feed, he'll suddenly see nothing. Let's see what he does. I haven't been sleeping well, I mumble, lowering the glass. The room suddenly feels claustrophobic with him standing there. Thanks for the milk. I'll try to nap in a bit. He doesn't leave right away. He lingers, eyes subtly scanning my room. I follow his gaze, first to the closet, where the camera is, then to the smoke detector on the ceiling, then to my desk, almost like he's checking that everything is in its place. For what? Finally, he says, all right, I'll let you rest. Just shout if you need anything. He backs out and gently closes the door. I release a breath I didn't realize I was holding. That was not normal. None of this is normal. He practically admitted he's been watching me at night. How else would he know about my tossing and turning? My hands tremble as I set the untouched chocolate milk on my nightstand. I check the camera logs on my phone again. Nothing new shows up, but that doesn't mean he isn't watching some other way. Enough is enough. I have to know exactly what he's been recording. That evening, I decide to test Mark's boundaries directly. If he freaks out, that'll tell me something. If he doesn't, well, I'll cross that bridge when I get there. After dinner, a silent, tense affair for me, though Mom and Mark notice I'm quiet. I just excuse it as a rough day at school. I head upstairs. I prop my bedroom door open just a crack, knowing Mark tends to check on me at night. Then I take a roll of blue painter's tape and, standing on a chair, place a big X of tape over the camera's lens. If he's watching the feed, he'll suddenly see nothing. Let's see what he does. I leave the tape there and curl up in bed with a book, though I'm too anxious to actually read. My heart is not in the story. I'm listening, waiting. 20 minutes pass. Then footsteps on the stairs. I bury my face in my book to hide my expression, trying to appear casual. A soft knock at my doorframe, since it's slightly open. Emily? Mark's voice. Can I come in? I put the book down and sit up, faking a yawn. Yeah, I call out. He enters, flicking on the light. I squint as if I've been half asleep. His gaze goes straight to the camera, where the blue tape stands out like a big flag. He frowns. Why is there tape on this? He asks, surprisingly calm but with an undertone of tension. I shrug, summoning all my teenage irritation. Because I'm sick of that thing staring at me, I say flatly. It weirds me out, Mark. I can't even change clothes without feeling like I'm on camera. He blinks, caught off guard by my bluntness. But you know it's not recording then, he says slowly, like he's explaining something obvious. We talked about this, Em. It's only on when necessary. I feel anger boiling up, but I keep my tone controlled. Define necessary, I retort. Because I woke up at 2 a.m. and saw the red light on. It was watching me, Mark. There was no break-in, no emergency, I was just sleeping. A flash of something, surprise? Anger flickers across his face, but he tamps it down. He sighs, adopting a wounded, concerned look. I was running a system update, that's all, he says, shaking his head as if he's the one upset. I should have warned you, but it was the middle of the night and I didn't want to wake you or Mom. He steps closer to the closet, reaching up to peel off the tape X. I clench my fists under the covers. Em, this is for your own safety, you know that. After those break-ins, I couldn't forgive myself if something happened to you, and I could have prevented it. You could have told me, I insist, feeling my voice shake despite my efforts to keep steady. Instead of spying on me while I'm asleep. I wasn't spying. His voice hardens just a touch, defensive. Don't use that word. I was checking the feed because the update pinged something. Probably a glitch. I only looked in to make sure you were alright. He comes down off his toes after removing the tape, now holding that crumpled blue X in his hand. I notice his fingers are trembling slightly. He's nervous, I realize. Why would he be nervous if he had nothing to hide? Mom appears in the hallway behind him, drawn by the raised voices. What's going on? She asks, looking between us in confusion. Mark turns to her with a reassuring smile. Nothing, sweetheart. Just a little misunderstanding. Em covered the camera because it made her uncomfortable. I was explaining why we need it. Mom sighs, already looking tired of the drama. Honey, she says to me, we agreed to let Mark set this up for good reason. It's kept us safe. If he says it was a system update, I'm sure that's all it was. I stare at her, a sting of betrayal in my chest. She isn't even considering my side. It was on for over an hour last night, Mom, I say, fighting to keep my voice from breaking. Why that long? What update runs for an hour and moves the camera to watch me walk around my room? Mark's jaw tightens. It wasn't watching you. I cut him off, swinging my legs out of bed and standing up. Then what was it doing? Because I felt it moving, tracking me. Do updates do that? Do they move the camera to follow me around my own room? There's a heavy silence. Mark's eyes flash with anger before he quickly masks it. Mom looks at him, then back at me, uncertainty on her face now. Mark exhales slowly and turns to me with a pained expression. Emily, I know you've had a rough time adjusting since I moved in. I know you miss your dad, he says in a soft, understanding tone. But I'm trying to be here for you. Everything I do, including these cameras, is for you and your mom's safety. I would never hurt you or violate your trust. You're acting like I'm some kind of creep, and that really hurts me. His eyes actually shine, as if he might cry. I love you, kiddo. I wish you could trust me. For a moment, I feel a pang of doubt. His performance is so good, if I didn't know any better, I'd feel like the bad guy for accusing him. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Mom's posture relax, her doubt melting into sympathy for him. He's turning this around, and I feel panic rising. If you want, I can remove the cameras, Mark continues gently. I was only trying to protect you. The last thing I want is for you to feel uncomfortable in your own home. Mom steps forward, placating. Now, hang on, she says to him. We don't need to remove them entirely. She turns to me, her voice softer. Emily, maybe we can compromise. We'll keep them off when you're home, and only activate them when no one's here. How's that? They're supposed to be off when I'm home, I snap. I can't help it, my frustration is boiling over. That was the whole deal, wasn't it? I glare at Mark. He meets my gaze evenly now, his own frustration well hidden behind a calm mask. Yes, he says. And they're off, unless something triggers them. Like I said, it was probably a glitch or a false motion alert. We're going in circles. He has an answer for everything, and I have no concrete proof to pin him down in front of Mom. Not without revealing I snooped on his system, which I'm not ready to do, not until I've secured evidence. I realize I'm not going to win this fight tonight. Not like this. Mark is too skilled at this game, and Mom's instinct is to trust him. I need real evidence to show her, something undeniable. I unclench my fists and force what might look like a defeated shrug. Fine. Maybe it was a glitch, I mutter. But I still don't like that thing in my room. Can we at least cover it when I'm here and uncover it when I'm out? Mom nods eagerly, relieved that I'm conceding. That sounds fair. Right, Mark? That way she feels better. His eyes flick to the camera, then back to me. There's tension in his stance, but he yields with a small nod. Sure. We can cover it whenever you want, Em. He steps forward and gently places the crumpled tape back into my hand. Here. Keep this. You can put it on any time, okay? I won't check the camera unless there's a real emergency. He's offering an olive branch, but beneath his kind tone I sense a warning. He's watching how I react. I swallow and nod. Thanks. Mom smiles wanly, clearly aiming for normalcy. She gives me a quick hug. There, see? Communication helps. Let's all just relax for the night. She pats Mark's arm as she leaves the room, giving him a grateful look. Thanks for understanding, Han. He stays a moment after she goes. The hallway light casts half his face in shadow. I stand there by my bed, the tape limp in my hand, feeling the tension thick in the air. Finally, Mark speaks in a quiet, almost gentle voice. You can always talk to me, Em. If you're ever scared or worried. I'm here, okay? It sounds like reassurance, but his eyes hold mine with a steadiness that feels like a challenge. I nod mutely. He gives me one last searching look, then turns and shuts my door behind him. The second he's gone, my facade crumbles. My legs almost give out as I sink onto the bed. My hands are shaking uncontrollably. That conversation did not make me feel better, no matter what Mom thinks. If anything, it convinced me that Mark is hiding something huge. He dodged my questions expertly, turned the guilt onto me, and acted like the wounded party. It was manipulation 101, and he aced the test. But in trying to cover his tracks, he also tipped his hand. He got genuinely nervous when I pressed about the camera moving. He was worried about what I might have seen. And that means there's something to see. As soon as I'm sure both Mom and Mark are asleep, hours later, when the house is silent, I make my move. I refuse to spend another night under that watchful lens without answers. I still have the strip of blue tape clenched in my hand, but I don't put it back over the camera. Instead, I slip out of my room and tiptoe down the hall to Mark's office. The door is locked, of course. Kneeling down in the dark hallway, I take a bobby pin from my hair. With trembling fingers, I wiggle it into the doorknob's tiny lock opening. I've never picked a lock in my life, only seen it in movies, but desperation makes me bold. I fumble around for nearly a minute. Click. To my astonishment, the knob turns. Later, I'd find out he never even locked it properly. He was so confident I wouldn't dare enter. The door swings open and I slink inside, closing it softly behind me. The glow of Mark's computer monitor bathes the room in soft blue light. He left it on. Perfect. My heart is about to explode out of my chest as I approach it. It's on the login screen, but Mark isn't exactly a cybersecurity expert. A sticky note on his desk has scribbled passwords. The top one says Laptop PW, Mittens 123. Our cat's name. He really thought no one would ever try to get in. I log in. His desktop appears, cluttered with folders and files. One immediately catches my eye, a folder named House Security. I double-click it. Inside are subfolders for each camera location in the house. Heart in my throat, I open the one labeled bedroom_Emily. A list of video files fills the screen, each named by date and time. Dozens of them. The earliest is from 3 months ago, around when he moved in. The latest is last night, time-stamped just after 1:57 a.m. I feel sick seeing my name on all these files. My mouth goes dry as I click the most recent file. A video player window pops up. At first, it's nearly pitch black, the camera's night vision mode. I see the faint outline of me on my bed. The timestamp reads 2:02 a.m. In the video, I watch myself sit up abruptly. I remember that moment, waking from the nightmare. The camera angle shifts as it moves to follow me. I see my own head turn directly toward the camera. I'm reliving my shock of spotting the red light. On screen, my face is visible, eyes wide. A chill runs down my spine. Then the video feed cuts out, coinciding with when I grabbed my phone to disable it. I clap a hand over my mouth. Even though I knew, seeing it with my own eyes is a whole different level of horror. Mark was watching me. He recorded the moment I woke up and realized I was being watched. I click another file, one from 2 weeks ago in the afternoon. The video opens on a shot of my room. There I am, back from track practice, stripping off my sweaty t-shirt with no idea I'm on camera. I'm in just a sports bra, rifling through my dresser for a clean top. Suddenly, the camera view zooms in, focusing on me. It's clearly deliberate. I see the image center on my back as I reach to unclasp my bra. I slam the laptop closed, a strangled sob catching in my throat. Tears blur my vision. He's been watching me change. He's been watching everything. Every bit of privacy I had gone. I crouch on the floor, wrapping my arms around myself, trying not to completely break down. My skin is crawling. It's a violation on a level I can barely process. The kind of betrayal that turns your world inside out. But I can't lose it now. I have to get evidence and get out. Taking a shaky breath, I force myself back into the chair and open the laptop again. I plug in a USB flash drive from Mark's desk and start copying the entire bedroom_Emily folder. It's several gigabytes. The progress bar says it'll take a couple minutes. Each second feels like an eternity. While it copies, I glance at the other folders. There's one for living room, one for hallway, etc., and then one labeled guests. My heart lurches. I click it. Inside are a handful of video files with names that make my blood boil. One says Emily_Kara_sleepover.mp4 with a date from June. Kara is my best friend. She slept over that night. Another is from a pool party in April. We had some friends over to swim that day. He recorded all of it. I open the sleepover video. It's footage of me and Kara in my room, lights out except for a dim lamp. We're in our pajamas, talking and laughing on my bed. The video is muted, thankfully, but I feel sick imagining him listening. The clip goes on until we fall asleep. Then, at about 1 a.m., I see my bedroom door inch open on the video. A figure stands in the doorframe briefly. I can't make out Mark's face, but I know it's him by the height and build. The door closes again. It feels like spiders crawling under my skin. He watched us, possibly in person as well as through the camera. I stop the video, nearly crushing the USB drive in my hand. Rage and disgust war within me. On the screen, the file transfer finishes with a soft ping. I eject the USB and shove it in my bra for lack of a better hiding spot. My heart is slamming in my chest, but I'm not done. There's one more folder that catches my eye at the bottom, Maddie. I click it. Inside are a dozen video files dated over a year ago, before Mark was in our lives. They show various scenes in a home I don't recognize, a teenage girl's bedroom, a living room, even one in a bathroom. The girl, Maddie I assume, looks maybe 14. In one video, she's brushing her hair in front of a mirror. In another, she's curled on a couch watching TV. My stomach turns. He's done this before. This is likely the stepdaughter or daughter of whoever he lived with before Mom. Did her family ever find out, or did he just leave and move on to his next targets? Us? I hurriedly copy the guests and Maddie folders onto a second USB. Just as it's finishing, I hear a soft creak from the hallway. My blood freezes. It's that one floorboard near the stairs that always squeaks. I quickly eject the second USB and kill the computer monitor, plunging the room back into darkness. I slip off the chair and hide under the desk, barely breathing. Footsteps approach, slow and quiet. They stop right outside the office door. I can see a sliver of light under the door, and a shadow blocking it. Mark is standing there. Is he listening? Did he suspect something? My heart feels like it's going to burst out of my chest. I bite down on my knuckle, praying he can't somehow hear the thunderous pounding of my pulse. After a long, agonizing moment, the shadow shifts. The footsteps retreat, down the hall. A door closes, his bedroom door, I think. I count to 30 in my head, fighting the urge to just sprint out. When I'm sure he's gone back to bed, I crawl out from under the desk. Clutching the USB drives to my chest, I slip out of his office and tiptoe back to my room. The moment I close my bedroom door, I sag against it. My entire body is trembling violently. But I have it. I have everything. I won't be staying here to collect more evidence. What I have is damning enough for 100 lifetimes. I just need to get it to someone who will believe me and act on it. I don't sleep at all the rest of that night. I sit in bed with my back against the wall, eyes on the little camera above my closet. I peeled the tape off on my way back in, so he wouldn't know anything happened. My mind races through 100 scenarios. By dawn, I know what I have to do. At breakfast, I'm quieter than ever. I can barely look at Mark, but I manage to hold it together. Mom notices my pallor and asks if I feel okay. I just nod and mumble that I have a study group after school, so I'll be home late. Mark gives me a long, searching look, but I keep my face a mask. Inside, I'm dying to wipe that concerned, fatherly expression right off his face. I leave the house and drive straight to the local police station, the USB drive shoved deep in my jacket pocket. I walk in and approach the front desk, heart hammering. In a shaky voice, I tell the duty officer I need to report a crime. When he asks what kind, I can barely get the words out. Voyeurism. My stepfather installed cameras in my bedroom, and he's been recording me. He raises his eyebrows in alarm and immediately calls for a detective. Within minutes, I'm led to a cold interview room. My hands are like ice as I sit down. A kindly female officer sits beside me, sliding a box of tissues my way. I realize I'm crying when I try to speak and my voice cracks. The detective and officer wait patiently as I gather myself. Finally, I spill everything, the whole story. I show them a couple of the videos, avoiding the ones where I'm undressed, my cheeks burning with humiliation as it is. Both officers go grim and quiet as they watch. The detective's jaw tightens when he sees the clip of Mark zooming in on me changing. The female officer mutters under her breath, "That sick bastard," and pushes the tissue box closer as I hurriedly wipe my tears. They ask me a lot of questions. How long have I known? Is my mom aware? Are there other victims I know of? I answer as best I can, telling them about the Maddie folder and how I suspect he's done this before. By the end of it, I feel wrung out and exhausted, but the officers exchange looks that tell me they believe me. The evidence is undeniable. Within the hour, the police have mobilized. A plan is set. They're going to arrest Mark at our house today. They urge me to keep things looking normal and not tip him off. I assure them I will. I've gotten pretty good at acting normal under terror, after all. Waiting at home for the police to arrive is the hardest thing I've ever done. I sit on the couch pretending to do homework, the USBs hidden on me, and jump every time a car passes outside. Mom gets home from work around 5 and immediately knows something's up. She asks why I wasn't actually at my study group. Apparently one of my friends texted her, confused about why I didn't show up to class. I just tell her, we need to talk, but not in front of Mark. Give me a few minutes, okay? She looks alarmed but nods. Mark, thankfully, is in his office on a conference call and doesn't notice this exchange. I use those few minutes to bring Mom into the living room and quietly explain everything. Mom is already there, her face creased with worry. We sit on the couch and I try to steady my breathing. She asks gently, honey, what's wrong? You're scaring me. My hands are shaking as I pull out the USB drive. I open one of the video files on my phone, the mildest one I have, of me asleep in bed, and show her the screen. Mom leans in, confused. On the video, the camera view moves across my dark room. She recognizes our house, my bed, me. I don't understand. What is this? She murmurs, though I think part of her already knows. I swallow hard. It's from the camera in my room. The one Mark installed. He's been watching me, Mom. Recording me. Mom blinks, recoiling as if struck. No, that can't be, she whispers. She looks from the video to me, searching for another explanation. Maybe someone hacked the system? Or... I shake my head, tears in my eyes. It was him. I found everything on his computer. My voice wavers, but I continue. I went to the police today, Mom. They have all the files. Her hand flies to her mouth. The police, she echoes, voice barely audible. I can see denial and horror warring on her face. I tap my phone to show another snippet, this one a paused frame of me changing after practice, my back exposed to the camera. I don't let it play, I just let her see enough. We have evidence, I say softly. He's been spying on me for months. And not just me. I briefly explain the folder labeled guests, how he even recorded Kara during our sleepover and had videos of another girl from before. Mom's eyes overflow with tears as the truth crashes down on her. How could he? Her voice breaks. He seemed like... I never thought. She chokes on a sob and pulls me into her arms, gripping me tightly. Oh my God, Emily. I am so sorry, she cries. I didn't know. I hug her back, my own tears flowing now. It's him, not you, I manage to whisper. He fooled us both. We sit like that for a few long seconds, the reality settling like a weight around us. I can feel her heart break in the way she clings to me. My own heart is pounding with both fear and relief, fear for what's about to happen, relief that I'm no longer carrying this secret alone. Just then, the sound of the front door opening makes us both jump. Mark steps inside, arriving home earlier than usual. He finds the two of us in the living room, me clutching the USB and Mom's face streaked with tears. The confrontation is explosive and mercifully quick. Mom, trembling, asks Mark, what is this? How could you? He sneers, eyes suddenly blazing. After everything I've done for this family, you dare question me? I tried to be the perfect husband, the perfect stepfather. I watched over her to keep her safe, and this is the thanks I get. His voice is rising, almost hysterical. She's not even my kid, and I still protected her. You both should be grateful, not turning me into some villain. Mark's eyes dart between us, then to the window, likely noticing an unmarked police car pulling up outside. In an instant, his self-righteous rage twists into panic. He bolts for the back door. He's running. I shout, instinctively stepping in front of Mom. The front door bursts open. Police. Don't move. Two officers rush in, guns drawn. Another pair appears at the back sliding door as Mark yanks it open, blocking his escape. Mark's eyes are wild, desperate. For a heartbeat, I think he might try to fight, but then a burly officer grabs his arm and wrenches it behind his back. Mark lets out a string of curses as they slam him down over the dining table and snap handcuffs onto his wrists. In less than a minute, it's over. They drag him outside to a waiting squad car. The last look he throws at me as he's hauled out the door is pure venom. You ruined my life, he spits at me, voice cracking with fury. I stand in the foyer, Mom clutching my shoulders from behind. I feel strangely calm as I answer, voice clear and steady. No, Mark, you did this to yourself. The front door slams shut behind them. The house is painfully quiet, only our ragged breathing breaks the silence. Mom collapses into sobs, and I turn to catch her. We sink to the floor together. She's crying that she's sorry over and over, devastated that she brought this man into our lives. I hold her, both of us shaking. My own tears finally come, hot and messy, soaking into her blouse as she rocks me and cries. That same afternoon, once the police leave, Mom and I do the first thing we can think of. We tear down every last camera in the house. We yank them off walls, rip out cords, and dump the whole cursed pile in the trash. For good measure, Mom takes a hammer to them in the driveway, smashing lenses and plastic with a fury I've never seen in her. I join her, stomping one camera under my shoe until it splinters. It doesn't change what happened, but reclaiming our home this way feels liberating. That night, I can't bear to sleep in my room alone. The trauma of it all finally crashes over me, and I end up curled on the couch with Mom, wrapped in blankets. Neither of us sleeps much. We talk in hushed whispers until dawn. Every time I start to drift off, I snap awake, convinced I see that little red light blinking in a corner. It's just my traumatized mind playing tricks, but it will be a while before that feeling disappears. She keeps saying, I'm sorry, and I keep telling her it wasn't her fault, that the only person to blame is Mark. We both cry, but we also hold each other tight. It's a start to healing. Over the next few days, I open up to my best friend, Kara, about everything. She's horrified, especially knowing she was recorded during our sleepover, but I make sure she understands none of it was her fault. We were both innocent, we couldn't have known. Having her support means a lot. She and her family stand by Mom and me as we begin to pick up the pieces. In the days that follow, more truths come out. Turns out, Mark had a history we knew nothing about. Maddie, the girl in those older videos, was indeed his former stepdaughter. That family pressed charges when they discovered he'd been spying on her, but Mark disappeared before he could be arrested. He reinvented himself, moved states, and eventually wound up with us. My blood boils realizing we were just the next targets for his sickness. But at least now, finally, he's being held accountable. He's facing a laundry list of charges: felony voyeurism, producing child pornography, since he recorded and kept videos of a minor, and whatever comes from the warrant related to his previous crimes. He's not getting out of jail anytime soon. The thought of him in an orange jumpsuit behind bars makes me feel a little better. Mom fell into a deep depression for a while, racked with guilt for not seeing the signs and for trusting someone who hurt me. It took a lot of therapy sessions, both together and individually, to work through that. She eventually understood what I keep telling her: the only person responsible is Mark. He fooled everyone. He's a master manipulator. Neither of us stood a chance once we let him into our lives. As for me, I'm coping day by day. I still get nightmares sometimes. In the first weeks after it all happened, I'd jolt awake in a cold sweat, sure I saw that red light in a corner of my room. I couldn't be in the dark at all. I slept with a lamp on, or sometimes camped out in Mom's room when the nightmares were too much. But little by little, it's getting better. We repainted my bedroom a bright, welcoming color. I rearranged the furniture. Those small changes make it feel like a new space, my space, not the one he violated. Mom and I talk more openly now than we ever did. She apologized to me, really apologized, for not listening when I first voiced my discomfort. I forgave her, truthfully. I forgave her the second this happened, because I saw how shattered she was. She didn't know. How could she? Mark fooled her with love just as much as he fooled me with paternal care. We were both victims of his deception. In the end, it will take time for our trust to heal and for me to completely let go of the fear, but we're on that path together now. I feel proud of the steps I took. I wasn't wrong or paranoid. I was right to stand up for myself. I learned that monsters can wear the faces of those meant to protect you, and that trusting your gut is never wrong. Privacy is a basic right, and if anyone tries to take it from you, you fight back. My stepdad nearly destroyed our trust, but he didn't destroy me. I survived this, and I know that my home is truly my safe space again, as it always should be.